Here's some additional considerations when you do your projections. The first one is do multiple projections. The reason I built that spreadsheet for you to use is because it's really easy for you to A, duplicate it, and B, just keep massaging and playing with the numbers. And so I could say, okay, 700 units at $27 versus 500 units at $37, or 1,000 units at $17, right? What if I paid 75% commission instead of 50% commission? Yes, it'll cost me more per sale, but I believe maybe I can make X number of more sales. And maybe I start out with several different traffic sources, and then I find most of them don't look good except for one or two or three, and that's how I help determine what my primary and secondary traffic sources are. I might say, gee, is there an opportunity to do a simple upsell or a simple downsell? A lot of people get this screwed up, by the way. They think this is like one-time offers. It's not. What I mean is, do we do an A-B offer? An A-B would be like, hey, listen, for $27 you just get the videos, and for $37 you get the video, audio, and the PDF. That's an upsell, downsell situation. Right there, point of sale. They can choose option A or option B, or option A, B, and C. So you could go back again and create 3 line items. And you say, I think X number of people will take option A, X number of people will take option B and C. You have an unlimited potential here in which to play the numbers and do what we call backing into the numbers. So we set our financial goal, we back into it, and that's how we figure out how to reach it and achieve it and how much traffic will be required to contribute to that goal. And then I like to get granular. So if you take 700 units per month, which was the Facebook example I showed you earlier, that translates into, if you divide that by 30, it translates into between 23 and 24 sales a day. So if I felt like I could do a 5% conversion, I would have to generate from Facebook 480 qualified targeted clicks day in and day out. Now, if I'm spending 50 cents a click, I will be spending $240 a day. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, right? And if I'm not making that money up front, how many days could I spend $240 for if I'm getting 0 sales in advance? 1, 2, 3, right? So can you handle that? You must get granular, and you must make this very real and specific. The more real and specific you can wrap your head around it, the more likely you are to be successful with it. That's why 700 units on Facebook day one for you might not make sense. For me, easy. I'll spend $240 a day all day long because I know in a very short period of time, even if I had to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 to dial it in, I'm buying my way to success. And I can do that because I have the financial means and confidence in my ability to do that. You may not, so therefore this might not make sense to you. And, it makes a lot of assumptions. 5% conversion, 50-cent click. We don't know exactly if that is going to play out that way. We'll talk more about that here in a second, but these are some of the considerations you just got to keep in mind. And the more you do this planning and projection, the better you'll get at it. The other thing you have to really understand how to calculate is advertising cost per unit. So that's part of the forecasting and the planning worksheet, right? Is how much is going to be my advertising cost per unit. And so on a Facebook example, remember earlier how I showed you on my Facebook section, I said, okay, I can spend $10 a click on a $27, not $10 a click, but $10 per sale on Facebook at $27 a unit is going to still make me a lot of money, right? This is how you calculate advertising costs per unit. You first take the clicks. So you say, how many clicks do I think I need to produce a sale? So if we convert at 5%, that means 20 clicks to make a sale. It's very simple. 20 times 5 equals 100, right? If we convert it at 10%, it would take 10 sales. If we convert it at 1%, we converted at 10%, it would take 10 clicks. If we converted at 1%, it would take 100 clicks, right? So you take your conversion percentage, you divide that from 100, and that shows you how many clicks that you need to generate in order to make a sale. So 20 clicks would produce me a sale if I was converting at 5%. So then the second thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make kind of an educated guess on what you think your cost per click will be. Now, you won't know until you buy your clicks, but you can make some guesses and then refine and be very accurate over time. So if we assumed they were 50 cents per click, now we can calculate cost per sale. And so 50 cents a click at a 5% conversion, that means it takes 20 clicks to produce a sale. and each click costs me 50 cents, that means my cost is $10 per sale. Do you see how I got that? I took 50 cents times 20, and therefore my cost is $10 per sale. Okay? Now, if my cost per click is lower, then that's going to reduce my cost per sale. If my cost per click is higher, that's going to increase it. If my conversion is lower, that's going to increase my cost per sale. And if my conversion is higher, that's going to decrease my cost per sale. But, if you think about it, I could spend up to technically and still break even $27 per sale if I'm selling my product for $27. That's break even, right? So these are some of the considerations to help you understand and project your revenue goals and how traffic plays into that for your information products. The last part of the puzzle here with variables that we can influence and measure and be aware of is cost per click. If it's completely out of line with what your projection is, so once you go and you start doing this after you project it on your spreadsheet, you either got to fix your cost per click or do a new projection, a new forecast. So if you said, I think it's going to be 50 cents per click and it ends up being $5 per click, that means either you have the wrong audience or you're completely out of line and you got to go back and you got to play with it, right? Conversion rate's the other biggie, right? If it's not within an acceptable range, you need to fix that. And we'll talk more later in this module about how you can improve conversion rate. And then scalability is just the last consideration. Will your click costs stay the same over time, go down, or go up? Most audiences, especially niche audiences, over time that cost per click will go up simply because of what's referred to as ad fatigue. The same people seeing the same ads over and over again. So if they ain't bought after the first 500 times they saw it, they probably will never buy. And if they've already bought, it's doubtful they'll buy again, right? So we got to make sure it can scale above and beyond. So if you start your first 100 of your 1,000 clicks you need and it's looking okay, are you confident the next 900 will be about a similar cost with a similar conversion rate? Now the cool thing is you can keep playing with these variables, and usually it's an adjustment in both cost per click as well as conversion rate. You get cost per click slightly down, you get conversion rate slightly up, and that can be the difference between break even and just a massive home run.